Welcome back, guys, to Heart, Me and More with your host, Coach Charletta, and your girl.
It's your girl, Elle.
Hey, y'all. Welcome back. Welcome back. Hey, today we have an interesting topic. It's actually a book that we're going to talk about. We would love to offer the opportunity to have like a book read on this and to have great conversations about it. I don't know, Facebook or something where we all can talk live together in reference to this book. This is a book that you've read.
Mm-hmm.
And you want to share the name of your book and the author, and then I'll kind of go over some questions and let you give some feedback on your perspective of reading this book.
So the book is called Single on Purpose by John Kim. It's a yellow book. If you do look it up, it is the one with the yellow cover. It is a journey. I will say that it's broken up into a couple acts. Act 1 is if you're not ready to deal with yourself, the hard truth, and ask yourself hard questions, I don't suggest you read this book. If you're not going to be completely honest with yourself, don't even bother, because it won't help you the way you need it to. But Act 1, it definitely is a heavy hitter. Act 1's a heavy hitter. Act 2 kind of brings everything into full focus, and so on and so forth. It just kind of builds on itself. Mm-hmm. But it starts off, it comes out the gate swinging from the introduction in Act 1. It starts out with, he's telling his story of how he never allowed himself to heal.
And that's what I was looking at in just the breakdown of the book. He says he encourages readers to embrace being single as a time for intentional self-discovery and personal growth, arguing that prioritizing your relationship with yourself can lead to greater fulfillment, even when not in a romantic partnership. And I like that. It emphasizes the importance of breaking free from societal expectations about being single and actively cultivating happiness on your own terms, which kind of goes back to what we talked about in our last show of the law of individuality, by finding meaning, joy, and engagement in your life without relying on a partner. And I like that because, again, referencing back to our prior show, many people feel like you got to have a partner to be fulfilled, to find your own. And he's attacking a lot of these societal, supposedly norms. And the key points of the book, he focuses on self-love, redefining singlehood, practical strategies. He addresses relationship baggage and breaking free from the expectation. Those are just like some of the key points of the book. And like you said, even in his intro, one of the things that I enjoyed and part of it that I read, how he was interviewing one person. He was actually doing a coaching session.
It's therapy.
He's
a therapist.
A therapy session. And the young lady shared that she told her boyfriend that she was interested in somebody else, and the boyfriend broke up with her, and she began to talk about all of the relationships she had been in. She never took a break. She never really healed. She went from one relationship to another, but this particular relationship was probably the healthiest one she had, but she wasn't attracted physically to the person she was with. She was attracted to somebody on her job, and because she blurted out what she thought and what she felt, she ended up losing that relationship. So I thought that was interesting, but he began to challenge her to embrace her singleness, like her healing journey. And this is the steps he really went through all the way throughout throughout the book, I believe. But that was just the portion that I read. But you can share more on your journey in the book.
So for me, reading this book, it definitely it challenged the way I thought about a lot of things, for sure, especially about myself. And asking myself, like, okay, well, why are you attracted to this person? What is it about them?
Mm-hmm.
Like the instance that you were referencing, she had a pattern of toxic relationships. So when she was in a healthy relationship, she didn't want the healthy relationship because this is boring. What am I going to do with this?
Yes.
And she was attracted to the guy at work because he was everything a toxic man is. Very intoxicating, makes you want to do it. And then you're like, I'm dying here. It's fun, but I'm dying.
And I think that was interesting about the first part of the book. And I was sharing with you how, even for me, it made me go back to my time of dating. Mm-hmm. And how I was sharing with you that oftentimes after dating several people, they appear different, but as you get into the relationship, you're dating the same person. Mm-hmm. And then taking those breaks of not dating and then going back out there, but not working on myself.
Yeah.
And so when you go back out there, you pick up
right where you left off.
Yeah, pick up right where you left off. And recognizing where he talks about that reconnecting with yourself, mm-hmm. embracing being single. Being single does not equal being lonely.
Yes.
And
I think this is what I loved about this book is that it didn't just talk about like, oh, if you're single, as in you're not in a relationship. It talked about being single as an individual. Like you are a single, you know, like you are an individual person with mm-hmm. individual needs, wants, desires, drive. You are you. And one thing that I read about in this book that really challenged me was we live our lives in our head so often, and to take a moment to drop into your body mm-hmm. and what that looks like. And for me, I had not danced in maybe 2 or 3 years. I had no desire to dance. I didn't want to do it. It wasn't something I wanted to do. I didn't want to dance. I didn't want to work out. None of it. And in reading this book, it made me think about how often we live our lives in our heads in everyday situations. Like you could be sitting somewhere, you could even be having a conversation, but you're having a conversation to respond and not to understand. And that's because you're living so in your head, like you're trying to figure out every which way you could this conversation could go, mm-hmm. instead of dropping into your body and sitting and being completely present mm-hmm. and allowing yourself to feel everything. And it has challenged me to sit presently in every situation, even though it may be uncomfortable, but to feel like, how's my body reacting to this person? Mm-hmm. How's my body reacting to the situation, this food? Do I actually enjoy this, or am I just going through the motions? Mm. And that has helped me look at people differently, look at clothes differently, look at food differently. Like, I've started cooking again. I hadn't cooked in God knows how long, but I started enjoying cooking again and finding new recipes and trying them. But it's helped me to find another part of me that I didn't know I had. But it is it's a challenging book. I can't tell you how many times I would read and then I would have to be like, you know what, I'm done. I tap out. I can't do anymore today. Like, I need to process. And it would take me like maybe a week to process just one section that I read, because he breaks it down to like, dang, like, oh wow, I never thought about it like that. Like, dang, my feelings are hurt. Ain't nobody talking. Don't nobody talk to me like that, you know. Right. But he says the things that need to be said. There are some things that that are in the book that I will not repeat on the show. If you read it, you read it. But basically, you know, that whole stigma of you get over a man by getting under a new one. That's a horrible idea. Like, he literally breaks down why that's a terrible idea. Like, no, you're screwing away your feelings. We'll put it that way. His words, not mine.
In one section of Reconnecting with You, he mm-hmm. says, loneliness is often seen as a monster under the bed. a source of embarrassment, or a personal failure. But what if we flip the script? What if we saw loneliness as just another chapter in the book of life, a chance to get to know ourselves better? Maybe accepting ourselves, warts and all, could be the secret map to navigating this chapter. And I like that because many people do see it as a failure because you're not with somebody, but it's a beautiful thing to get to know yourself, because many people get involved in relationships and they lose who they are. They become engulfed with the other person that is no longer them. And then one day they wake up, they're angry, they're bitter. They have hatred in their heart because they let go of themselves, and now they're trying to figure out how do they get back to themselves. He said, feeling alone isn't a sign of being broken. It's a nudge. It's a reminder that we need to check in with ourselves. It's like that warning light on your car dashboard saying, hey, maybe you need to take better care of yourself. It's a chance to focus on those parts of ourselves we might have been neglecting. And the beautiful thing, the more we accept and love ourselves, the less those feelings of loneliness will grip us. So he really talked about some key things that I think is very important.
So you just reminded me of something that I read in the book where he talks about the more you crave to be around other people is the more you need to be with yourself. Like when you feel like you absolutely need somebody, like I just need to be with this person. I just need to be, you need to check in with yourself. That's your inner self screaming like, hey, we're detached here. We are not connected. Hello, I'm here still. You can't forget me. I live here. It's your inner self saying, hey, we need to have a conversation like right now.
Yes.
But you're avoiding it so much so that you're like, oh, I need to be with this person. I need to go outside. I need to go party. I need to go drink.
Avoidance.
What you need is you need to come sit down and everything that comes to your mind, just write it out on a piece of paper. Get it all out until there's nothing left. Leave it for like an hour. Come back and read it and see how you felt.
See what's really going on in your head.
Yeah.
I like where he says, society often paints love and relationship as the be all and end all, but it's just not that black and white. Fulfillment and joy don't only come gift wrapped in the form of a relationship.
Yeah.
So why wait for a partner to enjoy life? And so many people wait. They don't know how to embrace life and enjoy it. He says, be present and soak up life's beauty here and now, because let's be real, even when you're in a relationship, it doesn't automatically guarantee happiness.
Absolutely not.
Or ward off loneliness. Like how many people are in relationships and they're not happy and they lonely?
I think what so many people think about loneliness, they think lonely is being alone, like by yourself. But you can be lonely in the emotional sense if someone's not taking care of your, well, first of all, you are responsible for your emotions. That is not somebody else's job. You are responsible for your feelings, your emotions. That's you. That's not on somebody else. That's all you. But also the instance of like, one, you're responsible for that. You cannot blame somebody else for your happiness. That's all on you, boo-boo. That's not somebody else's job. Oh, but he's supposed to make me happy. You know, no, girl, that's your job. No, sir, that's your job. Like, it's not on the other person. Like, if you're miserable, check in with you. It may have something to do with them. There are external and internal factors to that. Like, yes, your situation may be unfortunate, but there are a lot of people who are broke and very happy because they understand that it's an internal thing. Like they control that.
When you say broke and very happy, do you mean broke as in, financially they don't have money, or broke in the aspect of that they're broken internally, emotionally? So when you say broke,
when I say broke in that particular instance, it's not having the financials to, have all the things, all the clothes, to have the clothes, the car, the watch, the phone. They don't have all that, but they're still happy because they understand the basic necessities of life to be content and happy.
Okay.
And there are people who are broke. Most broken people, they can function, but they're not happy.
Yeah.
If you're broken internally, you're not happy.
Yeah.
You can fake it all you want to. You can laugh. You can, but at the end of the day, when you're done laughing, how often does that laugh turn to a cry?
He had a part in the book where he talked about standing in front of the mirror.
Mm-hmm.
And are you seeing a stranger or are you seeing yourself?
Yeah.
And a lot of times, many people don't want to deal with the man in the mirror.
No.
And it's very uncomfortable dealing with the man in the mirror, but it's a necessity to heal. If you're going to have a healthy relationship, you got to embrace being alone.
Mm-hmm.
And in reading the book, what things did you discover about yourself? Like what things did you discover that you enjoy? The things that you discovered that you could change for the better. Do you mind sharing some of that with the audience?
I do not mind at all. For me, with the standing in the mirror thing, I did the mirror thing. I did stand in the mirror and I looked myself in the eyes and I literally felt like I was looking at someone else. Like I literally felt completely disassociated. Like, I don't know who that girl is. She's not cute. She's very ugly. Like, I don't know her. Like, and you can see it in my face. And I had to work my butt off of not only fighting through reading the book, but also like actually answering the questions and getting real with myself and being like, no, what's your issue? What's your deal? What are we running from? Like, what is keeping us from being attached together? Being one person instead of two split human beings. And I rediscovered my love for dance. I rediscovered my love for music. I rediscovered for me being in the kitchen. Rediscovered like learning new recipes and trying new things, and for me going outside, just being in the sun, you know, like
I love that.
When I was little, I was always that girl that I would stand in the sun and just turn my face to the sun, close my eyes and turn my face to the sun, like a flower, which is why sunflowers are my favorite flowers. If you did not know, now you know, because they always find the sun. They always find the sun. They will always turn and face the sun. And that helped me to, one, deal with my issues, my internal issues. I have apologized to so many people since reading this book because I realized I was the problem. And in doing that, it freed me to do other things for other people. And knowing like, okay, I know I'm the problem, so let me apologize. Like, hey, listen, the way I could have handled this so different. I hope one day you can find it in your heart to forgive me. If not, it's okay. I understand. And, taking responsibility for my part in things. But it's really helps me to just be honest in little things. Like, even in having a conversation with someone, if I don't like your tone, like finding it in me to be like, okay, well, maybe their tone isn't about me. Maybe it's about something else they have going on.
Right.
And being able to come back and be like, listen, I understand what you said, but I don't appreciate the way you were talking to me. And I would very much appreciate it if you never speak like that to me again. You can say what you mean and mean what you say, but you have to find another way to say it. Because if you attack me like that, I'm going to respond.
Yes. Well, that's true. And if you feel threatened, most people will respond if they feel threatened in some way. But also in listening to what you're saying is talking about setting boundaries. And we're going to talk more about setting boundaries in just a moment. We're going to go ahead and take a short break here and we'll be right back. And thank you for joining us. The Golden Nutcracker is an original contemporary telling of the traditional Nutcracker, which includes various genres of dance. Join us for 4 dynamic shows. Those shows, the dance that you will see is ballet, point, modern, jazz, tap, West African, and Caribbean, and liturgical. It's an amazing show. Elle herself has been in 3 of them. And so during the holidays, go out and check out the Golden Nutcracker. All right, welcome back. I'm enjoying this conversation with Elle on the topic of this book that she's reading, Single on Purpose by John Kim. We would love to do a book read of this with our audience and have the opportunity to have a live discussion and what the book has done for you, and help you embrace being an individual in relationships, in marriages. You are still an individual. And for some reason, many people have the misconception of being in a relationship, you just lose yourself in the relationship, and you no longer have an identity. Your identity is the other person. And the truth of the matter is, in relationships, that each individual should remain true to themselves. And if you're true to yourself and you're healing yourselves, then you can be able to add some value to your partner. But if you're not working on you and you're not healthy and whole, you actually can bring more damage in a relationship.
Absolutely.
And I just love the concept of what he's sharing. Some people, when they read about it, because he talks about learning to be single after divorce, many people don't know how to do that. Like, they get a divorce, and by the time the divorce is over, they're in another relationship.
Indeed, yeah.
And it's like you're taking your baggage into something fresh, and you're cluttered up, and it stink.
This is the way he explains it in the book. He says we don't give ourselves time to grieve the situation. A relationship is a living, breathing thing. It breathes, it has its own life. And when it dies, a lot of the time we don't respect it as dead. We don't give ourselves time to grieve the fact that, oh my God, this thing that I love so much is dead. And then we don't give ourselves time to heal, not just grieve, but to heal from that grief. Because a lot of the times when you're grieving, you don't see things clearly. A lot of the times you even reminisce because you don't respect something as dead. Like, one instance was a relationship that had died, and the relationship being over, and you're not respecting it as dead, as in you're not giving yourself space from that person, from the people associated to that person, the things associated to that person. You're not separating yourself enough, or giving yourself enough time to be like, okay, I'm gonna let that breathe. I'm gonna let it go for now. If we come back around, and it's gonna be a new thing. The old thing is dead. You can't bring it back. It will never be the same ever again.
And I think in relationships, a lot of times where people may mess up is they try to resuscitate something that's dead, instead of, like he said, let it be dead. Give yourself space.
Respect it as dead.
And if you come back to a place that you start fresh, you start new, you're not trying to resuscitate something that didn't survive the first time. And I think that's an interesting aspect to think about, because so many people do that.
Yeah, when there's disrespect and there's trust, something dies. And when you're trying to, force something back, but you never gave yourself time to be like, oh my God, you really disrespected me. Like, you broke my trust. I expected so much more of you. And there's also the thing about expectations, like having unrealistic expectations for people. You can't expect people to be you.
I love the growth and the maturity, even from season 1 to now in the beginning of season 2, the growth that you've made as an individual this year alone, the work you've put into becoming a healthy individual, because you want to be able to go into a relationship healthy and live life to its fullest. And I applaud you for taking that journey. Many people don't think to take a journey that you have taken the challenge of taking on at such a young age, and starting to read books that helps to heal you. It helps you to look at life differently, helps you to focus on where you're going in life and what you desire to do. And I think even with us having the opportunity to read this book and to share with others, it's going to be great. I would love to read other books with our audience in reference to healing, because healing inwardly in mind, body, soul, and spirit is important when you're moving on to relationships in your life. As we're wrapping up this segment, I hope something that Elle has said or shared about this book, and if you could order the book, Single on Purpose, John Kim. As she said, it has a yellow cover, and read it if that's where you are. You want to be healthy and whole as an individual.
And if you're going to be honest with yourself.
And if you're going to be honest with yourself, we would love for you to do that. And if you're interested, you'll see in the credits, our Instagram, our emails. Email us if you're interested. We'll be interacting with you guys on IG, and let us know if you're interested in doing a book read. This has been great, as always. From heart to heart, Mia Moore. From our heart to your heart, thank you, and we can't wait to see you again.
Bye. Hey y'all, welcome back to Heart, Mia Moore. It's your girl Elle.
And Coach Charletta. Hi, how are you guys doing today? It is amazing again to be back with you all. We're going to get things started with Elle. She has a topic that is on her mind. So Elle, let's share with the audience, what's your topic for today?
So the best way I can explain it is it's the law of individuality. It's what works for somebody else may not work for you. And when I think about the law of individuality, I think about it in so many different ways, like how, some people are like, oh, this workout plan worked for me, or, this diet worked for me. And then you try it and you're like, well, it ain't doing nothing for me. Well, that's because just because somebody else does it doesn't mean it's going to work the same way for you. And, that's even with like relationship advice, it doesn't always work. Everybody's different, and what you need in a relationship or you need from somebody is different from what everybody else needs. Your life experience is different, very different from the next person, even if you grew up in the same house. And I think that's a thing that people talk about a lot, is like, you see a lot of people be like, oh, well, me and my siblings, we grew up in the same house, yet we're so vastly different. And taking into consideration, like, okay, well, your life experience is different from the next person. So what might have happened, you might have seen things one way and they saw things a different way. Sure. You might be grateful for the experience you had and, be happy with what you experienced. And the other person is like, okay, and what I got to do with me? That didn't affect me one way or another, so I still got the short end of the stick. Instead of realizing, like, it could be a lot worse,
Right.
But as far as the law of individuality goes, for me personally, I've been really looking at it and how it affects my life daily, in the sense that understanding that I can't do everything that everybody else does.
Right. And that's understandable. It's when I think of the law of individuality, when you first started talking, I just think about how God was so unique in the way he created each of us, how none of us have the same fingerprint. We may come from the same parents, but we're all different and unique in our own ways. And how embracing our uniqueness and our differences, which also applies to our day-to-day life and the way we're living, and to know and to understand that just because it was okay for you doesn't mean that it is okay for me. Just like you said, when it comes to a diet, one person may be able to do the diet, but the diet and the vegetables or the meats or whatever is chosen, that person may be allergic to them, or because of their blood type or whatever may be going on in their bodies, their bodies may not, adjust to those things. So it's, in the law of individuality, I think is each individual learning to learn themselves, giving themselves space to be creative, to continue to evolve, to learn what functions for them and what doesn't function for them. Like you said, even in relationships, every person is different. Yeah. Every background that a person comes from is different. And all of that plays a part in the individuality of a person, how they address issues in life, and for sure. how they choose to live life, the type of job they may want to have. It varies. Yeah. And so understanding that individuality, respecting it, and example, I give the prime example. Your route, you started college. At that point in time, it was during COVID. It wasn't your thing. Not at all. So you decided to go into other areas, to be an esthetician, a massage therapist. You took other routes, and then you circled back around to going to school when you were ready to. And I think every child, young adult, coming out of high school, they need that freedom to know that just because you're coming out of high school, you don't have to go straight to college. College is not every kid's thing. Some kids need to go into the workforce. Some kids need to learn a trade. It's individuality. Because your mama is a lawyer don't mean that you going to be a lawyer. Because your daddy a doctor don't mean that you're going to be a doctor. You may be a good electrician. You may be a good plumber. You may be good with your hands. Just allowing people to be themselves. Yeah.
I saw a video on Instagram of this guy, and he said he was gonna make his daughter go into finance, and they were like, why? What if she doesn't like finance? What if she doesn't like it? He's like, everybody hates their job. You might as well get paid good and hate your job. And I was like,
but what about mental health?
That is so bad, because what about her? What about her mental health? Yeah. And he was like, okay, and there's therapy. I'll pay for it. And I'm like, but you can avoid all of that by just letting her follow her passion, because her passion might make way more money than working somebody's 9 to 5.
Right.
Not everybody has the capacity to work a 9 to 5. And the reality is that for some people, you might not be great. Not everybody's great in school. But, when you realize how many people that aren't good in school are good at other things, they just have to be let the creative freedom to do what they love to do. And they can turn that into a business. And most people who aren't great in school end up being great entrepreneurs.
That's true. Some of them are great entrepreneurs. As you were talking, I was thinking, how many adults today are leaving their jobs because it's not really what they wanted to do? They went into a field because that's what their parents told them to do. And it doesn't matter your age. You could discover your strengths, your weaknesses, your passions at any age. It's never too late.
Vera Wang didn't design her first dress until she was in her 40s.
And that's what I'm saying. It's never too late. To find your passion, find your key, find your niche in life, your niche in life, and go after it and be okay. Two people can have the same passion and sell the same product, but that product is going to reach two different audiences based on the people that are presenting that to the public. And so just knowing that there's room for everybody.
I like to think about it in this way, like when you look at like The Parent Trap, you know, Annie and Hallie, they're identical twins, but they were polar opposites. Like if you set them side by side, you know, you had to, you know, cut one's hair to make her look like the other, pierce one's ear, you know, but like they're still polar opposites. Everything about them is opposites. One prefers to be, you know, in the house, one prefers to be outside, one prefers, you know, like there were like some like similarities obviously in looks and like having the same product, but their personalities and the way they went about life is what made them so different. And in their being so different, you're like, oh, okay, I identify with this twin more than the other twin. And you're like, well, why? Well, because this one, you know, she's like sports like me. You know, the other one is more book smart. But like understanding that as a person, we have our own individual experiences in life, and being kind to yourself because you're not where somebody else is at your age. Like, and not comparing yourself to other people, because we are individuals. You know, you're not supposed to be like somebody else. You know, like there's only one original. Like there could be 1,000 copies, but the copies will always have flaws because they're not the original. You know, and it's easy. It's to the trained eye, it is easy to tell the original from a copy. There's a certain authenticity about an original that when you're comfortable in being yourself, you're like, okay, I might not be perfect, but I'm the only one like me, you know?
Right.
And like in the dating scene, I think that's something that's like the biggest problem with dating now is nobody's being their 100% self. I mean, it's kind of hard to be yourself if you don't know yourself, but what you know about yourself, you know, not hiding that. You know what I mean? Like, there are so many people that, like, oh, you like sushi. Okay, you like sushi. There's nothing wrong with that. You like to read. There's nothing wrong with that. If you prefer to be in the house and read a book, good for you. You don't have to go out and party, because if you go party, you're going to be miserable the whole time, and it's going to be on your face. You're not going to have a great time. And nobody's going to talk to you, because why would I want to talk to the miserable girl in the corner? You know?
But see, so many young people here, especially in your topic of individuality, how many young people, and I've talked to several, they all say, well, my coach said I'm in my 20s, live my life, do this, do that, blah, 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 enjoy, don't settle down with nobody. I hear both sides, girls and guys, go to the clubs, go do this, go do that, just enjoy life. But why push and encourage some people to go down a path or a road that isn't for them, that they're not really interested in?
Or is it triggering for them? Because I know there are so many people that, like, if they experience like abuse or, you know, not being protected as a kid, or like they have been molested and stuff like that, trigger warning, sorry, that go through those things, you know, being in crowds of people makes them uncomfortable. They have panic attacks, anxiety attacks. You know, some people, thunderstorms are triggers for them, like, you know, because, you know, their parents died in a storm, they were on a plane and something happened, or they died like that, you know, or it was an accident in the rain or something like that. There are triggers for these people. And, you know, for some people, being in crowds isn't good for them. You know, being in loud spaces just makes them uncomfortable. And honestly, the person you're looking to meet, if you're just being yourself and you're doing what you love, you're going to meet your person doing what you love, you know? Because a lot of times, like, yeah, you're going to be different, you know, opposites attract, but there are going to be those similarities that brought you together in the first place. And, you know, in your 20s, you know, everybody's telling you, like, oh, you know, like you said, there's so many coaches and, you know, older people like, oh, you're in your 20s, go wild out, like, sow your wild oats. Let's not do that, because there are STDs. There are things that, you know, you can't get rid of, that you're going to have to face that reality. Like, oh, but I use protection. Okay. There are plenty of people who use protection that still got STDs, that still got kids. I got birth control. birth control don't always work. I don't care what they say. And honestly, it does more harm than good in the long run. But, to each his own. But you have to be comfortable with taking that risk every day. Like
being being true to you and learning.
Instead of trying to do what everybody else wants you to do. Because, in doing what other people want you to do, you're going to be miserable with your life choices. You're going to be down the road. And you're going to be like, you're always going to wonder, what if I had just done what I wanted to do instead of what they told me to do?
Right.
How different would my life be? And
very much so, because even with what you're saying there, I'm just going to hop in for a moment.
Go ahead.
When you're doing what other people want you to do, and it's not what's in your heart, what happens is you do become bitter, you do become angry, you do become frustrated, but you're feeling those ways because you were not true to you. Mm-hmm. You betrayed the truest form of who you really are in every aspect, your heart, your soul, your spirit, all parts of you. Like, you betrayed you by trying to become what somebody else thought you should be. And it impacts you on so many levels. Like, somebody can say to you, I expect you to always be a size 4 or always be a size 5. People end up with eating disorders because somebody isn't allowing their body to just be itself. Yeah. Because you feel like it should be a certain way. You're putting them in bondage instead of allowing them that law of individuality. And we have to learn to embrace us. Yeah, for sure. Who we are. But it's hard for people to allow others to embrace themselves when they don't embrace themselves personally. Yeah. So they put the same bondage that somebody put on them onto other people. And that's sad in and of itself. But before we go any further, we're going to take a quick commercial break. And we just want to say thank you for joining us this far. And we'll be right back with Heart to Heart, Mia Moore. The Golden Nutcracker is an original contemporary telling of the traditional Nutcracker, which includes various genres of dance. Join us for 4 dynamic shows. Those shows, the dance that you will see is ballet, point, modern, jazz, tap, West African, and Caribbean, and liturgical. It's an amazing show. Elle herself has been in 3 of them. Mm-hmm. And so during the holidays, go out and check out the Golden Nutcracker.
All right, guys, welcome back. Welcome back. We are still talking about, going through that, where everybody's like, oh, but I didn't die, so you ain't gonna die. You'll be just fine. I hate that. That is like the biggest pet peeve. But did you die though? You know what? I almost did. Thank you. Like, I hate that.
Did you die? But you died in many ways. You may physically be here, but you died mentally. You died emotionally. Like, that right there.
I hate that phrase.
That is a conversation piece by itself. And you hear so many people say, well, I made it. I did this. No, let's talk about how you really feel. Mm-hmm. Let's talk about your real true disappointments. Let's talk about how it hurts you to your soul. Yeah. I mean, let's really go there, but many people don't go there, but they will tell you, well, babe, I got the t-shirt, I got the pants, I got the car, I got the hat, I got all of these things to say that I survived. Did you? Are you living or existing?
I think that living or existing, that's a great question. But today is so easy because everybody looks at a picture and they're like, oh, I want my life to be like that picture. But what you don't see is the picture's just a moment. It's frozen. It's this 1 second that's frozen. And what you don't see is the before or the after of a picture. But there's a perspective in pictures. Mm-hmm. And, there are people that pose for pictures because I want my life to look this way in front of people. But when you get at home, you're so miserable and you're unhappy and you hate everything about everything. And you're so mad and you don't even know why you're mad because, you sat with yourself to feel how you felt, and those feelings just kind of balled together and became anger because they sat unresolved for so long. And I feel like those people, those aunties, those uncles, those random people on the street who are always like, well, you should at least try it. Don't knock it until you try it. I'm sorry, I don't have to try it. I see what it did to your life. I don't need to try it. But it might not do that for you. You're right. It might do a whole lot worse. I'm not worth the risk. Thank you. Like, I think that's part of the reason that I'm so different from the people in my generation, is that I'm not willing to risk my mental health, my peace, my sanity just to try it. It's not worth it.
It's not.
Pick and choose your battles. That is not a battle I'm going to willingly choose. Like, I am so beyond picky. Like, I blocked a friend because I was like, that's a battle I'm not willing to fight. Like, best friends. And I was like, I can't do it. One conversation, I was like, that is a battle I will not pick.
But that's you, the individual you, learning that I don't have to deal with that. And you knew that within yourself, I need to cut this off because the repercussions down the line is something that I don't want to deal with. And being that young person to identify that law of individuality, recognizing it about yourself, and to know what's for you and what's not for you. And I think that's one thing we don't really teach young people, is that they can be an individual, they can be in the midst, but still be themselves.
Yeah, absolutely.
And teaching them to embrace that part of themselves and to be confident in their differences, and knowing I could be in the crowd, but not of the crowd, or just like the crowd. I can still be myself. I can stand out. And that's something that I really think we should try to focus more on. But again, many people don't know how to deal with that because they're not individuals themselves. They're trying to be a carbon copy of somebody else who they really aren't.
Or even they're trying to be a copy of something that they think that person is, or trying to be what they think somebody wants them to be.
True.
Like, I was that person that, like, I would be myself up to a point, and then I was like, whenever I got to a point of like, oh, I really like you, let me try to be what I think you want me to be in this moment, instead of just completely being authentically myself like I had been doing. And it changes everything. It makes everything a mess. And it's like, but it was so good. What happened? And then having, like, now, like, looking back and being like, oh, I self-sabotaged there. It was too good for me. And I thought I didn't deserve it. And understanding, like, you deserve happiness. You deserve to be at peace. You deserve to be loved correctly. And, you know, even like the topic of being loved correctly, everybody's viewpoint of what loved correctly is different based off of how they grew up, or, you know, what happened to them, or the people around them. It's all different. Yeah. And, you know, I think that's something that's really crazy. But then again, there's the law of individuality. It's what you as an individual grew up seeing and what you've experienced yourself. And just
nature versus nurture in your environment, and how the environment you grew up in impacted the person that you have become. And it's very true, you know. But just because you grew up in an environment that wasn't healthy, that wasn't the best, doesn't mean that you have to allow it to dictate your future. Absolutely. You do have the capability of change. You do have the capability of going to counseling, getting you a therapist,
having a life coach.
That
will tell you about yourself.
Yes, that will help you see you.
Yeah.
And be honest with you.
But also not make you feel bad about the decisions you made.
Yes.
And people always, like, I know some people think it's such a bad thing to go to therapy or to shop around for therapists. It's not. Because every therapist is not your therapist. Like, I had a therapist that she reminded me of a therapist that I had as a kid who traumatized. Like, to this day, there are still certain, like, kids' toys that I cannot and will not look at. Like, I can't. It's too traumatizing for me. But understanding, like, not every therapist is for you. And, you know, as an adult, I had a therapist who reminded me of that therapist. And I was like, ew, don't want to talk to you. I'll give you surface, but that's all I can give you. That's all I got. That's all I got for you. I can't give you more because you don't actually care. You're just doing your job.
Yeah.
And I think that in itself is a thing. Like, having a therapist that actually cares about your well-being versus a therapist who's just doing their job.
That's a mouthful right there.
As well as, like, having a life coach that actually cares about you versus they're just doing their job.
That makes a difference in finding that person that you can communicate with. Again, is the individuality of each person. Can that person meet you where you are? And can that person help navigate you to the place that you want to arrive at is very important. Embrace. And I would say to anybody, I don't know the ages of those who's watching the show, but regardless of where you are in age, embrace who you are.
Yeah, absolutely.
Take a look in the mirror. If you have a mask on and you being somebody that you truly aren't, take your mask off and embrace the you. Discover the you that you've been hiding from because you've worn that mask for so long, trying to be what you thought others wanted you to be. Be true to you.
But also allow your little kid, your inner kid, to grow up.
Allow that inner kid to grow up.
Sometimes some of us, we get stuck at an age when we're kids, and, you know, we get stuck there. Because so much happened in a small frame of time that we don't have the facilities to process.
Yes.
So we grow up in age, but we're still stuck acting like that little kid because that's all we got.
Yes.
We never got to process and grow from that. But my Uncle Andy, he used to tell me when I was younger, I was in like middle school or high school, he told me, you can't be a circle in a square. It doesn't fit. You can't be a square in a circle. It doesn't fit. Even if you are a square trying to fit in a circle, you're hurting yourself trying to be something that you're not.
Yes.
You're literally scraping and hurting yourself. And for what?
So be true to you. As we wrap up, it is the holidays here in Jacksonville, Florida. We do have the Golden Nutcracker that will be happening at the JCT Soundstage December 20th and 21st. At the end of our reads, we'll provide a link for you to be able to get your tickets to go out and see the show. It's an amazing show. Elle herself has participated in it for the last, for 3 years. And just go out and support and enjoy. And with that being said, we just want to say thank you for joining with us. And as always, from heart to heart, Mia Moore, from our heart to your heart. Until next time, we'll see you later.